Travis Schlebach, Bone Twister, 2021 Grand National Superstock Diesel Champion. 6 wins, 1 second, 2 thirds. Resilience. It's a property a champion must possess over the course of a campaign with 17 scheduled appearances. Travis shook off several potential fatal downturns to claim his first Grand National title. It began with a Toma victory on a thunderstormy Thursday. It also rained on Saturday, and then mechanical problems poured down in Kansas, with the resultant hook and broke dropping Bone Twister to 4th. But fortunes turned quickly in Dodge City, and Travis climbed 2 positions by winning on Saturday. Ken Payne's Super Rooster edged Schlebach in Rockwell before top 5s in Chapel Hill gained him breathing room over Payne, his most enduring challenger. In Ambassador Park, Twister touched down on the wrong side of the line, and we don't mean in Portland, Indiana, to shrink its lead to 2. But Fort Recovery lived up to its name, and with a 15-foot win on Saturday, the man from Marengo, Iowa, passed test number 2. A fortnight later, a blown engine in Napoleon necessitated some late-night driving home and home shop wrenching that led to a Bowling Green victory. Twister and Rooster swapped firsts and seconds in Hoopston. Then, in Sandwich, bad luck struck both 66s. And yet Travis gained a point amid the carnage. When the doubleheader was done, Travis accepted his plaque, much relieved, no bones about it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Travis Schlebach, your 2021 Grand National Superstock Diesel Champion.
Hi, my name is Darren Hartwell, and on behalf of the National Tractor Pullers Association, I would like to welcome and congratulate our 2021 Superstock Diesel Tractor Grand National Champion, the Bone Twister, out of Marengo, Iowa, Travis Schlebach. Travis, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for everything NTPA does. It gives us its organization to participate in.
So, Travis, we'll talk about the season to start off here. Started off in Toma, Wisconsin. Started off on a high note.
Yeah, it did. We kind of won a class out there. That was the first win we've ever had in Toma. We pulled there 6 or 8 years, and to come out there and get a win, get a good start to the point season championship really got us to a good going in the right direction.
Absolutely. I mean, the Wisconsin Dairyland Super Nationals, kind of a bucket list pull on everybody's list to win. To win that one's got to be really, really an honor. Unfortunately, the second night there was rained out. So you moved to a brand new event in Dodge City, Kansas, the Wild West Nationals. So tell us about that weekend.
Well, we got out there the first night and had a flywheel issue on a flywheel had come loose and got to the track, didn't even get it off the line. So very frustrated, had my head in the sand there a little bit and said, geez, where'd my points go here? And luckily we came back the second night at Dodge City and won that class and kind of redeemed myself and kind of kept into that points lead and kept going again.
Right. So after Dodge City, go to your home state of Iowa at the North Iowa Nationals in Rockwell.
Yeah, Rockwell, we made a good one pass there. Then I think we got rained out, didn't we, on the second night there also. So we thought it was the season of the rain is what it was, and just kind of kept going along there, making passes and seeing what we could come up with.
Right. So after that, you moved to Chapel Hill, Tennessee, the Lions Super Pole of the South. Tell us about the Super Pole of the South.
Yeah, it was a good pull. We had a couple good hooks down there, and, love the Chapel Hill Lions Club, what they do for us down there. It's just a great place. I always tell them it's the hottest place in the United States of America, but what a great pull. And we kind of, at that point, we were running to win every run, but at some point we were just kind of watching the points, seeing if we could keep this thing in line.
Correct. So after that, then you moved to Fort Recovery.
Yeah, Fort Recovery was just short of a disaster. Went in there, I think, with a 6-point lead coming out of Chapel Hill. Drove out of bounds the first night, and man, I got to the end of the track and I had my heads down. I'm like, that's the end of the points championship. There's no way we can recover. And believe it or not, we left the first night with a 1-point lead. Still had a 1-point lead. The Ducks and everything just went in my favor on that one. The cards fell right, and then come back that Saturday night and won the pole. So it was a little redemption there.
Absolutely. So you took that lead in Chapel Hill, held on to it. After the Fort, went to the Henry County Fair in Napoleon, Ohio.
Yeah, we went down there, won the class, but blew the motor up right at the end of the run. And that was pretty stressful. So we knew we were going from Napoleon right to Bowling Green. Good thing it was a one-hook deal on a Saturday night there at Napoleon. Left there, drove home to Marengo, Iowa, put another motor in, come back to Bowling Green, and then had an awesome show on the Friday afternoon and won that class.
Right, so National Tractor Pulling Championships in Bowling Green, won the Friday afternoon. How'd the rest of the weekend go?
Oh, we ended up, I think, 5th place the second night. We won the ring. That was our first Bowling Green win. That was our first Bowling Green championship ring. So we had a lot of firsts this year to, top the season off.
Yeah, absolutely. So you go into the last pull of the season, Sandwich, Illinois, 2 sessions, an afternoon and an evening session. So afternoon session.
Oh, it was something. I was 6th hook there and waited for Watch campaign with the Super Rooster. He was 3 ahead of me, and, he had trouble on the line. I think went out there 85, 86 foot, and I was just sitting back there on my tractor telling myself, you just got to make a respectable pass, and you'll have this points championship locked up. And went out there and had injection pump problems. And we thought we had an injection line. Thanks to Robbie Lemke, he jumped right in there and said, hey, we're changing this right here on the track. They gave us 6 minutes. And we changed it. We ended up going 86 foot 3 inches or something, beat Rooster by 3 inches. So that put a lot of drama in it. We really thrashed. Both of us were pitted side by side. It was almost like NHRA drag racing out there changing injection pumps. Come to find out, he had a bad injection pump. I had a bad injection pump. Borrowed one from Blake Graves from Texas and got mine going. He got his going. And then we went out and fought it out the last hook of the evening.
All right, so you clinched that title, the final hook of the year in Sandwich. How did that feel?
Oh, it was awesome. I'll tell you what, there was a lot of emotions. I've been trying this for, I think this is 6th year in Grand National points. And, back when I built that tractor, there's a lot of people that said, you can build a diesel super, but you'll never be able to run, competitive. You'll never be able to do it. And I gotta give a lot of credit to a lot of people, but it came around, and I just kept trying and going, and we just, all the ducks kind of came in place there, and all the cards fell in the right spot.
So, Travis, like you say, how did you get started in the sport of pulling?
Believe it or not, years ago, there was a gentleman back in Iowa by the name of Kevin Husselbus, and he got started by his dad, Calvin Husselbus, from western Iowa. He moved to eastern Iowa, got to know Kevin. He had a super farm back called Mr. Bone. And a good friend of mine, Denny Healy, started working on it. And so I just kind of helped along, didn't have nothing else to do at nights and weekends, so we helped and went pulling with them guys a lot. And then Kevin got to where his girls were not into tractor pulling, they were into boating and everything. He's like, I'm going to sell this. So I bought a super farm called Mr. Bone Reloaded and run that for a couple years. And then I got the itch that we should have a diesel super.
Nice, nice. So you came out with the diesel super. If I remember correctly, you swept both hooks in Cloverdale, brand new tractor?
Yeah, that was actually the second year we run that. The first year we run it, or the second year we run it, we were not running. We were running more of a region class, and we went up to New Hampton, Iowa, had a Grand National pull. And the first night I bounced up and down all over. I should have been dead last if I wasn't. And I was sitting on the bleachers waiting for the pull the second night, and Marcus Weddleson walked over to me and said, what are you going to do tonight? I said, I don't know. I'm completely lost. He said, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what gear you're going to run. This is what air pressure you're going to run, and this is how you're going to drive it. And that was the best advice I ever got. I just shrugged my shoulders and said, do whatever you want and tell me where to go. And we went out and won that pull that night. I'll give all my competitors their due. We were a regional class, regional tractor at that point. And at the end of the night, every one of them Grand National guys walked over and congratulated me. They didn't know me from nothing. They did not. They welcomed me with open arms. And so that winter is when we went on I call it my winter terror. And we won Gordyville, we won both hooks in Cloverdale, and we won both hooks in Louisville. So we had an awesome season that winter, and it really got me going. I thought, well, this Grand National stuff is easy. I'm going to go Grand National pulling the next year. I think I finished 10th in points. They showed me that it's not that easy.
Well, you bring up Marcus Weddleson. On the back of his tractor, it says, painted on the back of his tractor, it says, if pulling Grand National were easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah, that is 100%. I mean, it's a lot of work. And Marcus was also the one that, we talk a lot, and he said, Trav, if you're ever going to win a points title, your mechanic has got to be. Denny Healy has got to be on board, and I'd talk to Denny Healy, and he was on board all the time. But there was twice this year, Napoleon, Ohio, when I blew that motor up. Before I left the track, as I was getting pulled off the track, I sent him a text message that said, you need to start putting the spare motor together. So, and by the time I got home, he had the short block together. We left, Hoopeston, Illinois, we also blew it up, and he was putting the motor together when I got home. Come to find out it wasn't as bad as what we thought, so we fixed the other motor and made it back to Sandwich.
Good deal, good deal. So, you know, what were some of the biggest challenges of this championship season? I think we just touched on a few of them, but.
Yeah, I think consistent finishes, and you know, that was my biggest thing. I go back to Dodge City, Kansas, when the flywheel come loose and, you know, got dead last, and then Fort Recovery driving out of bounds. You know, that was probably the biggest thing is just kind of consistency in my runs, and that weight is on my shoulder. You know, parts breakage, just like every class out there, we're all making more horsepower. We're pushing everything to the limit, so we find a new weakest link. And then in the middle year in Napoleon is where we found our weak link there. So, yeah, it's you know, there's new parts coming around the corner, and everything's coming together. But the consistency is what the hardest is.
Right. So, what would you say were some of the highlights of your season?
Definitely 100. Winning Toma, winning Bowling Green, winning the ring, and then you know, coming back when I had troubles at Dodge City, I come back Saturday night won. When I drove out of bounds at Fort Recovery, I come back Saturday night and won. So that was probably the biggest thing, is redeeming myself, which I think in the end is what helped me the most on the points.
Great, great. So a couple of other questions for you, Travis. When you're the test hook and you make that test pass, how do you decide if you're going to accept it or decline it and come back later?
Well, I think a lot you just got to go with what your feeling is and how good the track actually run, how good a pass you actually made, and then where your finish distance is. You know, with ours, there's a limited number of vehicles in the class, so it's the hot, so you really don't want to come back unless you really had a bad setup, you really had a bad run. So I try to accept them the best we can and kind of move on.
Okay. So you talked about, you know, how it feels from the seat. Do you know when you're on a winning pass from the seat?
Oh, 100%. I'll tell you what. If you know, years ago we talked about you watch the videos of the NHRA dragsters, the top fuelers, the funny cars, and you actually see where the tires will get bigger in diameter the harder they spin. And we've all seen videos of that. And you can actually, believe it or not, I can feel that in my seat. On a good run, when I take off the line, I can feel my seat come up 2 or 3 inches, and then when it actually bites into the track, and we call it gets hooked up, it'll actually set me back down in my seat. That's when you know you got a good ride. And then to top it off, if you can pass the flag guy at the end of the run, that's awesome.
Very cool, very cool. That's a great explanation. So now we talked about some of the bigger polls. Do you prepare any differently for a big class at like a Toma or a Bowling Green or a Rockwell than at a poll that maybe doesn't have as many entrants?
No, we run the same setup pretty much all the time. We can change how much water we use, which that'll equivalent to what our exhaust gas temperatures, our EGTs are. So that's really what we set up. We set up a course per track and stuff like that. But as far as motor combination, we're running the same year, day in, day out.
Okay, okay. So when you come back for a pull-off, do you do anything differently, or what do you do after that first run to prepare for the second run in a pull-off situation?
We actually, like at Hoopeston, Illinois, you know, we throw water, fuel, and put some extra oil in it. We'll blow some oil out going down the track, so we got to give it as much oil as we can. I do myself, we change the amount of water I use. So we can control how much water the motor burns by a bypass disc. So we will change that because the motor's hotter and give it some more water. A lot of times then if we're in a pull-off situation, we've got to decide, are we in it for the points? We just want to make the longevity, or do we want to go out and dominate and win? And that number, that change is what we can change.
Okay, okay. And I remember a pull-off situation in 2020 in Rockwell. You turned it up and blasted it out the end for the fans in your home state?
Yeah, we did that. You know, that was great, Rockwell. And, you know, the first night there was 3 or 4 of us in the pull-off, and we kind of all agreed that, you know what, let's just split the points, split the winning. You know, it doesn't matter. We want to be here to put a show on for the fans. And I kind of felt bad for the fans. So that night when they interviewed me, I told them I guaranteed them that we would pull it off Saturday night. We were going to give them the best show possible that they could possibly see. And there was a pull-off. And when I got to the end of the track, I announced we are pulling this thing off. So we did. We made a good pass, and everything worked out just fine.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was very cool. So, Travis, it's taking you a lot of hard work, a lot of time to get here. Who do you want to thank?
Oh, I mean, that list is really long. I got to start with my wife, and, you know, she just loves doing this pulling, and I think she has more fun sometimes than I do. But, you know, Jerry Jerry comes with me. He's from New Hampton, Iowa. He comes with me every year, a lot of the pulls, and he's my crew chief. He sets my tires, he sets my cone, he backs me in, he starts my tractor, and I can focus on the pull. But the biggest thing back home I got to thank is Denny Healy. He's the one that's putting them motors together, and I can't hardly get him out of the shop at times just to come down here and visit and put his face out here. But I got to thank Denny Healy. But then it goes to, Tim Engler built me a chassis, and Mark Korth has got my tires, and then we go to the power plant of it, Hypermax Engineering and all their guys, Jeff and Jerry and all the employees at Hypermax, they give me good parts and we work well together. So, back Cody McKinley at Corsa Data, a couple years ago I was really struggling with some turbochargers that we were trying. I called it on-track dyno testing. We don't go to the dyno myself with my motor. We just have never put it on there. So we rely on Cody and Corsa Data a lot to give us on-track dyno service numbers or dyno numbers that we can actually relate back to Hypermax and let them know how things are going. So Cody's a big help there. But, mainly Denny Healy and Jerry and my wife. They're the ones that get us going down this road.
All right. Once again, congratulations. Our 2021 NTPA Grand National Superstock Diesel Tractor champion, Travis Schlabaugh, Marengo, Iowa, the Bone Twister.